measure it flat, it contradicts that. I'm spitting flat facts and that. And I know you don't like that. Google Maps is flat, it presents elevation profiles like that. I'm a spitting flat earth king. Sentence has a ring, doing my own thing. If earth was a big roast chicken, factually finger licking chicken. We just got the measurements missing. I'm spitting eggs and begs, begging the question lesson. I've said it before, time after time. I'm the spitting flat earth king of rhyme.
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patrons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So a massive shout of thanks and appreciation to Robert Edward, Pablo de la Cruz, Smith Tools and Purchase, Level Plain Poem, Vitali Z, Colton James, Smith Tools and Purchase, Thomas van der Zander, Measured Flat, Tiers Morgan, Mitch Kennedy, Rod, the name's Burley, J Mails 24, Unamento, Iron 26, Retro Bill, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Troy Shuker, Hairy Blade, Mobile Mac 777, Rob W, Del West Watson, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Texas Mike, Chow Yun Cat, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Links to Patreon will be below this video. And with that, I will hand across to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
Well, it's not that there's nothing to talk about. We do it every day. Yeah, we only have an hour show. But, I mean, what they're talking about is like Greenland stuff. But, yeah, that's what they're talking about over there. And then while they're talking all the nonsense, the guy popped in saying the earth is concaved.
Concave baseline that's required for trigger, for getting angles, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's talking about because there's containment, right? Well, he was saying a dome, right? But I still don't see how, even if it is a dome, why it has to be concaved for you to have a set dome. And I think what they're also talking about is the depths of the oceans, you know? But finally somebody came in and said, listen, flat is not a shape anyway. Which it's not.
Mainly just an aspect.
Where was this?
24/7 politics. I seen Jin in there. So I said, let me see what they're talking about. So the guy gave him a taste of his own medicine. When he came in with concave, Jin said, well, what's your proof? And the guy said, oh, you got to do your own research. I started laughing. But, yeah.
My job's not to prove to you it's concave. Yeah, all these crazy pie in the sky ideas don't have any measurements to back them up, though, do they? The ball doesn't have any backup measurements, and neither does the concave Earth. The only one that's got measurements is flat.
Right, and that's why I gave Jin credit, because Jin immediately asked him for the measurements of it. They were talking about how the schooling system has to change, and just as this flat Earth gets out there more and more, this is an important truth. And then they went over all the, I guess that was that Globe Lite tour they started talking about, what great success they had, and people's eyes were being opened up to the truth. And once you get past this first lie, you got to deal with one lie at a time. Then, oh yeah, this is another thing. Then a guy comes in, he goes, "Well, I have a theory about that." His theory was in the cities where they are pumping fluoride in the waters, the people are more docile. They'll go along with anything. Said if you give enough to a bear or a lion, they'll roll over and let you pet their bellies. He goes, but if you see in the country, like in Tennessee and these places that are drinking well water, you have people that are more open to, having guns and not going along with the system. Weird stuff, man. But that was his theory. The fluoride, man. The fluoride.
Yes.
How's it going with the book? I know, did you take the next step?
What's the next step?
I don't know. Don't you have to give it to Chuck or something? Or
No, still reading through it. Checking that the order
you're
of
just
the
still reading
chapters.
through. Okay.
Well, the order of the chapters isn't set in stone yet, and so the first rearrangement of a chapter came yesterday. So I got to the end of a chapter. I'm like, this feels like it should lead into a different chapter. So it was a chapter about Earth curve. It vaguely talks about the black swan, and then I'm like, it feels like it's missing a chunk. And then it's sort of led into a chapter about Julian, and then went into the R value chapter. I'm like, nah, that's the wrong way round. It needs to go Earth curve, then R value, because they're directly connected to one another, rather than Earth curve, then talking about science denial, and then talking about R value. I mean, yeah, it breaks up the flow if that's what you want, but I don't. I want it to flow into each chapter. So that's the first amendment in terms of order so far.
Well, you're making progress.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Things are coming along nicely. I mean, it's not that read where you read it and go, right, that's it, let's send it off. It's like, okay, let's read it, get it in the right order. And when it is, there's also minor edits being made, like in each chapter, one or two things might get an alteration that stops us for 5 minutes. But for the most part, we're just reading straight through it because we've done all the editing work. So we read through it in the right place, we move on, and we're on. What are we on now, hun? Chapter 9? Chapter 9.
That's good. That's good news.
9 of 24.
It's all right. By the end of the week, you'll be at 24.
I would imagine so, yeah, if we get a wriggle on. Like, that's why every show this week's probably going to be really short. There might be a couple of days that we don't even have a show, because I just need to get my head down and get it done. Hopefully I'll get a few more PayPals that I can pass on to Paula. The motivation for people to drop me PayPals just so I can keep Paula motivated has waned and is now drying up. Because I think people are just anticipating it coming out now. Obviously, we're still working on it.
Oh, you can rely on a chunk off me as soon as I build for this last month.
Wait, Paula will be delighted. While I'm waiting for panels, I'm just deciding which mics I want to put out behind me. And the problem I've got, it's not really a problem, it's that all of them are good. Like, all of them have a use. I haven't got any that I'm keeping that I don't have a use for. There's a couple of exceptions, like a vintage under snare mic that I might very rarely use, you know what I mean? But for the most part, all of it's like I'm never not going to have a use for a small diaphragm condenser. You know what I mean? Or a Shure mic. It's just one of those things that are always going to be useful. So I want to keep them all out. So I've bought a few more stands so I can get them all at the same height, looking pretty. Once the panels come, they'll all be lined up. But I want them all out, and there's not enough space for them. Or it won't. It's not that there's not enough space. It's just it won't look particularly great. I kind of want it to be a display, but by the same token, I know I will grab one at some stage and go, I'll use that, and then I'll put it back, right? So the ones that are out are the most likely to get used. So as I'm going through it, I'm like, well, I want all of them out, you know. But I think I'll have to pare it back a bit and figure out which ones aren't absolutely necessary to be out. Problem is, as soon as you put them away, they stop getting used. You're like, well, which one's the best one? The one that's here and now and ready and wired up, not the one that's in a cupboard or a flight case. That's why you end up seeing musicians with like really worn out guitars, because they're super duper really expensive custom Les Paul that they've bought is in a cupboard somewhere, in a cabinet, in its case, in a fur-lined case, not being touched. Whereas the piece of shit that's right next to them that they bang around all day long is what they pick up and just whittle away on. That ends up being the guitar they use. There's no rhyme or reason to which one you'll end up using. But that is the one that's closest. If you want to strum something out, you just grab the closest one, right?
Well, you want the best sounding one. You heard that story with Andy Summers and Eric Clapton?
Don't get me wrong.
He-
I'm sure there is circumstances where people at the pinnacle of their career don't care. Therefore, their £10,000 guitar is what they will grab because it's inconsequential to them. But for the most part, if there's a normal person that's got a £3,000-4,000 guitar, that's not the first one they reach for. They reach for the one that's the knockaround guitar that's out. You know what I mean? The other one's kept in some nice fur-lined case.
Well, this is what I want to tell you. It's funny because Eric Clapton kept breaking his chops because Andy Summers picked up this beautiful Les Paul. Paid, I think, 200 £200 for it. Right? And Eric Clapton really wanted the guitar, but Andy Summers was like, "Nah, I'm gonna keep it, even though I'm using my little Strat over here. I'm gonna keep it." But he kept breaking his chops. And then Andy Summers jumped in. He goes, "And you know, there was a loose pickup in there." He goes, because we don't know anything about electronics. This is back then. Because I figured out, let me sell it to him. And it winds up being a freaking $2 million guitar now. Sold
But
it to
only
Eric
because of that
Clapton for
story.
£200.
Yeah, but only because of that story, because Clapton's owned it and played on it. Then it becomes a really expensive guitar.
No. There's something about this guitar that it was worth it before Clapton even touched it.
Really?
Yeah. There's only like two made, I think. That, you know how that goes when you only make two or something. It could suck, but there's only two,
Fair enough.
You get these stories on. That guy really has a good freaking gig. He came up with that Rick Beato, where you freaking interview musicians and you let them tell the stories.
Yeah, I watch Rick.
Then I see one was Stuart Copeland was talking about how when they got their next engineer, I forgot the guy's name. He made the sound so much different because he put a Neumann. I was like, oh, Nathan was like this. There goes that Neumann. On each end of, I forgot what he said, each end of the room where his drums were.
Neumanns are just good microphones. That doesn't necessarily mean that you just bung a Neumann on and something will sound good as a result of it. Put a Neumann in front of something and it
The engineer knew what he was doing.
Yeah, you got to know exactly. You got to know which Neumann. There's lots of different Neumanns and they're all different. There's certain mics that just get a reputation for being a particular type of mic. And for vocals, there's a particular Neumann that gets its reputation for being a vocal mic, U87 or U67. That's just what people want to use. So people will book studios just because they've got that mic. But it doesn't necessarily mean that when they actually put the singer in front of that mic, because that's what they've booked, that will be the right mic. It might not work with the vocalist. So you try them on something else and find something that works better with that particular sound. But that Neumann is still the industry standard for vocals. You know, U87 is what you'll see just all over the place. Or U67, the valve version. Yeah, like I say, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to be that sound, but it's like the mic. So if you imagine How Deep Is Your Love, like Bee Gees, where they're all singing around one mic, that's a U87 or a U67, I don't know which, you can't tell. But they're both the same capsule. But it's either the valve version, probably not, because it's in the middle of a stage with people everywhere, so it's probably the phantom-powered version, but you just don't know. But that type of mic has that characteristic sound that just does well on vocals. But, you know, you might be that it sounds great on the Bee Gees, but then you put it on your voice and go, oh, this sounds really nasally and shrill. You're like, that's just how that mic sounds.
Just got to go up a couple of octaves like a chipmunk.
Not just
you know what I mean when I said like a chipmunk, Alvin, Simon, and Theodore.
It's not. I know what you're talking about. It's just it's not necessarily because of the dynamic, not the dynamic range, the frequency range that the sound that is in means that the mic don't work. It might be the space that it's in. It might just be how far away the singer likes to be from the microphone. You know what I mean? There's various different things that could mean it just doesn't work the way you want it to work. And in reality, you can get any mic to work on any source, right? Unless it's a really delicate condenser mic and you stick it in front of a bass drum or something, you know, when you're putting it to a total extreme that you might damage it. But beyond that, any mic will record anything. There is no, like, correct mic. It's just whichever one works. But there are certain mics that just tonally match certain instruments or certain applications better. And there's certain mics that are just really well made, that are just good. It's like you buy a Merc, you just expect it to be generally a good car, right? You're not buying a Dacia or a, Dacia. Buying some poopy, crappy Korean shitbox when you buy a Merc or a Beamer. You just expect it to be pretty good. Now, will it beat the Ferrari? No, in the right circumstances, the Ferrari will beat that car. So there's a better car out there. But does that mean that the Beamer's not good? Well, of course not. The Beamer's great. Is it always going to be better than the cheap Korean shitbox? Yes, of course. Always. Anyway, enough about mics because I've been fiddling all evening with them.
What's on the agenda for today?
Nothing. I haven't got any focus, but that's never been the case, right? It's not like I start a show going, well, today I'm planning on doing this. That's never been the case. But normally, about 5 minutes before the show, I think maybe I could talk about this. Maybe that conversation that we've just had in the pre-show will spill into the after show because it's been so much live material. You just don't know. But my focus at the moment is so all over the place. I can really only focus on a couple of things at once. And at the moment, my two focuses are ordering panels. I've been chasing down GIK. They're not particularly great at getting back to me when I say I just want these extra two, because I want one for the door and one to go in the kitchen because you can see straight through to it. They haven't got back to me about them. So if it's, I'm poor, so it's whether or not I get my 10% discount depends on whether or not I'll buy one or two of them. And I just need her to tell me, yes, you can have 10%, in which case I'll just pay for both. That's on my mind, along with which mic stands am I going to use for the mics, and I want all of them, which means I haven't got quite enough mic stands. So I've been ordering little bits and bobs, little adapters, little XLR adapters for the stands, just to get them all presented at the right height. Now, it's absolutely nothing to do with their actual use. It's just when they're on camera behind me, I want them to look pretty. So they're just display only for that purpose. And the stands that I've been ordering, one came today. I've got a couple on order from a UK supplier and a couple on order from
You're just ordering boom stands.
I like goosenecks.
Right, goosenecks. I was just going to say a lot of your mics are heavy, so I was going to say, have you ordered any weighted booms?
Yeah, I've got about half a dozen or maybe more boom stands with really heavy bases in a bag behind one of the curtains. I've got, I don't know, two or three.
And not being the bases, being the arm, when you fold out the arm on the top, there's a weight on the other end.
Yeah,
At the microphone.
Yeah, weighted boom
right.
arm. Yeah, it's like a T, a letter T, the stand with like and on one end of the T you've got a weight, and the other end you put your mic. So you can put the stand away from whatever it is you're pointing it at. So if it is in front of a singer, they're not touching the base of the mic with their feet. If they want to get close to it, you can kind of point it at them. Yeah.
Let's put the mic in front of somebody's back. Let's put the mic in front of Alpha Murphy 72. He's back to hang out with us. Are you going to speak? Your wife give you permission?
I tore a strip off him though. He probably doesn't want to talk to us because he's had a strip tore off him. Nobody
All right,
likes
so what kind of characters do we have here that you'll sit in a voice chat and not say anything?
I don't know.
Hello,
Not me.
guys.
Go ahead, Eight King.
I want to say something because I thought about something yesterday. I know you will maybe say that it's doesn't matter because the point is that Earth is measured flat. But I got something interesting.
I love how you're dropping a disclaimer. Go ahead.
So you know that
just notice the time.
when you
Can it wait? Hold
when
on one
you're
second, Eight King. Sorry to cut you off immediately. I'm gonna go live. So can it wait like 2 minutes till I've done my live intro?
yeah, sure.
Cool.
Sure.
How are you?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So we were about to get into something with Eight King in the pre-show. So I've asked him to hold off just till I do my live intro. You still there, Eight King?
Yeah, just a moment. Just go on. I'll be back in a few minutes.
Oh, wonderful. We're all waiting with bated breath. How lovely. Okay, well...
Now's your chance, Alpha Murphy, to pipe up.
Look, the guy's been warmly welcomed back. He doesn't have to chat. He's not under any obligation, Neil. The fact that he wants to sit in the Discord server voice chat and not chat is just one of those things. Like I say, the last time he was here, I absolutely berated him. And rightly so, right? Below the surface of some of the guests that come here, who at face value seem polite, are actually just itching to tell us that we're, I don't know, in that case, in the case of Alpha Murphy 72, closet homosexuals with what we get accused of being, because right under the surface they want to insult us. Well, that's done out of fear. right? They're scared of what we do, what we say, how it will affect them. Now, that's not because they're in fear through any empathetic means or any justifiable means. It's purely internal, like their anger towards us, their desire to ridicule, their desire to throw insults is purely because of their own instinctual fear of the circumstances that are befalling them if they're in any way in our sphere of influence. So, I get that. And as much as it annoys me that people want to throw insults at us, it's like part of the course, isn't it? Like, it's not like it's anything new.
Yeah, we have thick skin now, but still, I mean, you sit in voice chat. I guess his wife told him not to speak anymore because the last time you spoke, look what happened to you. You had to deal with that Nathan guy berating you.
Again, I mean, just to... Go ahead, 8 King.
I'm back now if you're not into something.
No, we're just talking about how people react to us, right? And in general, people who are here in our sphere of influence know the score. You said in your disclaimers before you started, just before the pre-show ended, that you wanted to give your disclaimers about how, look, I know it's measured flat, but can I ask you something about something that I think is relevant anyway? You're like, well, of course, you know what I mean? That's if you're polite, most of the time, all we want to do is share the information that we've got. So there's this impression that I'm giving off at the moment when I'm kind of nonchalant about what we do and going, look, it is inconsequential. That's not that I don't stand by that, but I think the real changing the world idea that people put across to us isn't true. They just want to be able to defeat the opponent that's in front of them, right? Now, you're going to get that from this show if you watch regularly, right? There's nothing that's going to change in the regards to the subject matter expertise that everybody who comes here has got, or the fear that people are experiencing when they ask us questions. I'm not saying 8 King's experiencing fear, but maybe. We'll find out. Go ahead. What's your question?
Well, not a question, just something I realized yesterday. So basically, when you're at the North Pole, you move away from Polaris. So basically, you increase in latitude. I mean, you go to the right, let's say to east, right? You go from north to east, getting away from Polaris. So the angle of Polaris drops, and we know that with rise in altitude, it will not change the angle. But if you're already in the east and you rise in altitude, it will be like going from north to east, like changing latitude. So it should affect the angle because it's going basically horizontally away from Polaris from that point of view. And raising in altitude when you're already in east, it's like going from north away from north. Get what I mean? But it doesn't change. That means raising in altitude is same everywhere. I mean, we already knew that, but it just makes more sense.
What you're saying is, in a horizontal orientation, regardless of our inability to explain why the altitude angle doesn't change when measured having backed away from Polaris, are you suggesting that if the ground was falling away, there'd be a deviation in terms of that measurement if you travelled east, if you were to assume Earth was spherical, versus the actual parallel nature of the sky and ground when measuring an area of equal elevation? That's a latitude in your example. From any position, it remains the same angle. But like you would suggest, you just didn't add on a ball. I don't know if you were including that, or are you saying something other than that?
Yeah, like on a ball, when you're raising altitude, being already in the east is no longer raising altitude, same like in the north. It will be like moving away from north.
Perfect. I just wanted you to say the bit on a ball. Okay. Perfect timing, because it means I can get launched into this explanation. You've got to jump through a few hoops to make this realization in terms of why it's wrong. Now, first, you've got to have a ball that's been derived from the Polaris minimum elevation angle measurement in the first instance. Or Al-Biruni, pick your poison. But once you've measured Earth flat to create the ball, you then say, if I travel in a flat Earth only direction, away from a system that measures a star flat to give us circles, that's flat 2D circles of equal elevation we call latitude. Then on a ball, it's like at that point, you've already got your flat Earth measurement to create your ball. You've got your flat Earth measurement to create latitude. And you're saying, if on a ball and I travel in a flat Earth directionality, east, then if the ground falls away, then at altitude, the difference would be noticeable in the angle alteration when measuring an area of equal elevation. Well, on that ball, you don't have a surface to get the angle from. And on that ball, you've created it using surface level, that's flat Earth, elevation angles in the first instance. And on that ball, you haven't got directionality to describe being on a ball from. And on that ball, when you describe the altitude that the difference would come from, you've measured the altitude from a flat plane. So you've got 4 flat Earth prerequisites that you've got to, hoops, if you will, jump through to get to the ball that you say doesn't work because it only works flat. Like, yeah, but the ball creation for you to say how it didn't work was also flat though, wasn't it? To get to the ball, you had to measure Earth flat. To then say how it doesn't comport with the flat Earth measurements that created it.
Sounds like a globe debunking to me.
But a globe debunking relies on you measuring Earth flat to achieve the globe, to then say it doesn't work. That's the standard rule of thumb for any flat earther over the last 10 to 12 years. You've got ignore all flat Earth prerequisites, ignore elevation from surface level, ignore the surface level, ignore sea level, ignore altitude angles, ignore the Polaris system, ignore the acquisition of R with elevation angles, ignore it all, and then assume that we're on a ball and say how it doesn't work. Like, why? Give them the ball. They need flat Earth measurements to have it. So give it them. Don't say how it doesn't work. Say, yeah, it works with the flat Earth elevation angle you used to create an R value from a flat plane measurement. It works with altitude taken from a measurement from sea level. It works with an altitude angle measurement that's 2 straight lines meeting at a vertex with your ground position being on the ground. What's that I hear? It's not the ground! Just because it's flat!
Yeah, it's perfectly true what you're saying. It's just funny how stupid their claims is. They even try to use the changing angle against us when it will actually goes against them, their narrative. It's just stupid. But yeah, it's true. We already know how it's measured.
Yeah, but it's now noticing at which point you get to the flat Earth measurements. Do you ignore the ones before the ball gets created and then explain how if the angle was being taken from a curve, it can't be, then it would be more severe in terms of the differential of angle that you measure when you've traversed east around a ball surface? Well, or do you go, well, your ball comes from these 3 or 4, forget now, I've lost count, flat Earth prerequisites to get there, to then say, if I violate all 4 of them, it won't work with an angle. You're like, for me, it's retraining the audience to go, look at the former bit, because then you don't have to tell them they're wrong. Yeah, wow, yeah. Curved adjacent elevation angles. Yeah, that's wonderful. That's really good. But the ball itself comes from a flat Earth elevation angle, doesn't it? Yeah. How'd you get your R value? Well, obviously, you're going to need to measure an Earth flat. How'd you get your altitude? Well, obviously, we're going to measure Earth flat. How are you going to get your altitude angle? Well, I mean, obviously, we're going to measure Earth flat for that. You know what I mean? To have your ball, you can have it, but you must accept how flat Earth gets measured to create it. Now, you don't have to like it, but that is how it's measured, flat, to create your ball. Now, as a flatty, we've been trained, ignore that bit and then tell them how the ball that already exists in the discussion, because you're talking about a ball, how that doesn't work. Well, in the mind's eye of anybody listening, they're just hearing ball, 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 ball. So it reiterates and reaffirms that there is a ball to be argued about. And it is the one I'm standing on. That's all somebody who's looking to affirm their bias will take from it when they hear globe Earth. Doesn't matter what context it is. It doesn't matter about logic. People don't care about logic, reason, facts. right? They like stories. They like people, right? That's what they like. So if the people are talking about the ball and they like them, then ball, right? Me, I'm like, yeah, ball that came from flat Earth measurements. Then you don't have to like it. It doesn't matter if you disregard those measurements because you don't have a ball anymore if you disregard them. What are you going to build the ball with? The one that you can believe in. I'm giving you permission to do so. Not that I'm the arbiter of these things. That's another rhetoric for another day. But in this instance, it's like, don't go whistling past all the flat Earth measurements that you need to get to the ball so that you can say, if we ignore all the flat Earth measurements we use to get to the ball wouldn't work thusly if I travel east and measure an elevation angle. Like, altitude, your height that you're describing is from surface level or sea level if you're actually taking a useful measurement that's practically applied. This is not a practical application of anything. We're just folly talking about whether or not if the violated ground baseline that created the ball was to be incapable of giving us an angle, the angle wouldn't work if you moved around the curve. Like, well, then you wouldn't get an angle and you wouldn't get your altitude, and the ball relies on both those things to create its existence mathematically. So, you know, why are we having this conversation? But interesting, and I'm glad you've brought it to us, Aitking, because it means I get to point out the presuppositional, not even presuppositional, prerequisite flat Earth measurements to get to the ball for your point that if you travelled east, your elevation angle differential to something that doesn't change in altitude angle measurement, that's Polaris at a latitude, regardless of how high you are when you measure that altitude angle, because you've got a parallel surface level to functionally work with that measurement. If it's curving, well, then the angle's going to be more variant as you move around that curved surface. But then you're not measuring an angle and you can't measure altitude. So, interesting.
That's correct. And it's not an angle anymore.
Yeah. Better say that the elevation angle to the star not changing with altitude, it is only possible on flat Earth.
But just elevation or elevation angle. Anything to do with the surface. All roads lead to a flat Earth. Doesn't matter what measurement we're talking about when it comes to measuring Earth and its surface, it will be flat. For all measurements, there are no exceptions. As we were editing the book yesterday, we came across parallax in one of the descriptions of ball Earth rhetoric that I'm hopefully doing a reasonable job of explaining in my book when I'm not a globe earther. Nevertheless, I want to do a good job representing it. And my wife's fact-checking the number of arc seconds that we've got as the estimated measurements to derive sphericity from. And talking about parallax, I'm like, hold on, I haven't mentioned that that's a flat Earth prerequisite angle. So she's like, okay, well, let's just drop it in. And I'm like, well, let's just double check. Let's just check exactly what he's doing and what the process involves. It's just like any other angle acquisition. You're going to need a surface level to describe parallax. So it's just yet another road that leads to a flat Earth that, had the book not been delayed, we wouldn't be at this point where we go, no, literally, it doesn't matter which measurement you're talking about. If you're talking about Earth, surface level, and an angle measurement acquisition, then it's going to be flat. It can't not be. You know, it is what it is. Whether you like it or not, you've got a baseline that needs to be adhered to. Fundamentally, Earth will always and can only be measured flat for all measurements from Earth.
But you get my point that on Earth all verticals are parallel, but for them altitude in east is perpendicular to altitude in north.
Well, yes and no. I understand your point. I understand that you're saying that without having that axiomatic principle of horizontality and perpendicular vertical aspects being true always, then everything falls apart as you move around a bend. But then you don't have any of the axioms or the acquisition of the measurement angle. So it's not like the angle would change. You wouldn't get the angle. Where are you going to measure the angle with respect to? If your baseline is curving, well, you haven't got a baseline. And you need these Euclidean principles to hold true in the first place.
Exactly. You can't get an angle. Once it's curved, how are you going to get an angle? It's an impossibility.
Yeah, you cannot. I was just addressing about the tangent they keep on bringing, but it's pointless anyways because the tangent
What's the
is
tangent?
not on. not on Earth. It's just not existing, not physical.
Gotcha. What you're saying is if you assume that there's a dingleberry Earth situation with a tangent plane that's attached to it, if you're measuring the angle and using a flat plane that's tangential to a ball that you're no longer measuring the surface of, then your tangent plane, if you are to use that as an apologetic for this, would still alter the angle with respect to that tangential plane. Well, that's what I've said. You then don't have a baseline. You don't have a universal, unilateral, horizontal plane of reference, which is what is required to do this. It is using horizontal planes of reference. The plane of reference is Earth's surface, and if you say it's a tangent plane, then it's constantly altering. But your alteration relies on something that deviates from the simple planar surface that the tangential plane that they are apologising with affords them. What are you actually measuring from? The tangential plane? Well, what does that mean? The only point that the ground is on is a single point, but you're measuring for ground positions with you at the zenith of a box with the flat sky and the flat ground and an angle to a star with a GP that couldn't be if you've got a tangent plane that's not representative of the Earth on the surface itself. The tangent plane doesn't afford you a GP when you line up the triangle for the trig. So ultimately speaking, a plane of reference is what is used. But this apologetic for how, well, we can incorporate a plane of reference by making it tangential to a ball that we assume, well, then you're no longer using the surface if you assume the surface is the ball. And what we're actually doing is measuring the surface. So it's a crap apologetic, the tangential plane excuse, because they're just measuring a plane still. It's with a dingleberry ball Earth that they've assumed that isn't functionally useful in any way, dangling beneath the plane that you're measuring. But it balls it up if you move that plane around the surface, as you described. Yes, I understand your point.
And also their tangent plane in their example is actually the Earth's surface, because as they're moving, it moves with them. So it will always be Earth's surface that they're walking on and taking measurements from. So if you draw like a million tangential plane around their globe, it's gonna be basically Earth's surface all covered.
Yeah, don't forget the Mariner sextant utilises sea level for that horizontal baseline for the two GP points, the observer's eye and the GP of the sun, along the surface of the 0 degree baseline we call sea level and use for all measurements across Earth. Sort of throw that in there.
Yeah, like on screen now, the point below the triangle on the right with 90 degrees marked is the surface ground position that you're trying to acquire for each of these circles now in this diagram. That's what you're trying to achieve when you measure these stars for a purpose. And don't get me wrong, you can suggest that this point here has a globe Earth dangling beneath it, but then if the surface is falling away, you're not going to acquire these points on the ground. They are ground position, GP points. They have to be with respect to a planar surface. That's just how it works. Now, again, you don't have to like this. It's not my fault either, right? I'm not the arbiter of how the systems, the maps, the surface level, the sea level, the parallel eye level, the measurement of stars, altitude, latitude, all these flat Earth prerequisites work. Full stop. Nothing to do with me. I haven't got any control over any of this. It's just how it is. You don't have to like it. Earth's just measured flat, though. He says with a mouthful of sausage roll.
Yeah, it's measured flat, and the Greeks all knew that. Because they measured angles using sticks and shadows. The globe must be flat for horizontal shadows.
Sounds like a poem I know.
How you doing, Neil? You all right, mate?
So I guess ballers don't know how to tell time, do they?
Time. You're going to need a horizontal plane for time, mate. an elevation angle.
Yeah, so according to a certain party, they sent me messages at a decent hour. But did you see what I sent you back? The exact time when that message came through to me. One at a minute before midnight and one at 4:59 a.m. or whatever it was, 4 something a.m.
What?
This idiot thinks when he writes a message, it doesn't matter when you write it. It's when you send it.
I don't know what you're talking about. Sounds like people are sending you messages at horrible hours.
Yeah, we're talking about the one from Phil Bell because Phil told, I guess, One Deck that he never contacted me at those hours, and he gave him the hours that he contacted me. But that wasn't the case on my end.
Is Phil Bell your friend? Have you
I have
invited
no
at
idea
any
who the hell
stage?
he is.
Have you invited communication from this stranger ever?
Nope.
Phil, we fucking hate you. And you're contacting people who fucking hate you at any hour. It's an absolute disgrace. Why the fuck are you contacting Neil, Phil? He's not your friend. He's not your work colleague. You're not paying him. He's not doing any jobs for you. And he hates you. Why are you contacting him? I'll tell you why. Because you fear us. That's why. You're not getting on with your day in your sad little belief that you're on a ball. You're contacting a man who fucking hates you. Okay, Phil? You're pathetic. You're a low-value male. It's all you are. Sad little man.
I wonder if he's worked out if water vapor is a gas yet.
Yeah, these people decide that they want to inject themselves into your life personally. It's like, what are you doing? Like, seriously, what are you doing? Do you think that's reasonable? Is that socially acceptable behaviour to you, Phil? You're a fully grown adult and you think you can insert yourself into people's personal lives? No. Wrong, you stupid man. No, but I didn't contact you at this time. Nobody gives a flying fuck. We don't want to be incommunicado with people like Phil. People who we hate, despise, would sooner throw off buildings so they can prove their gravity that they've suggested we do for the last 10 or 12 years. Yeah, with their shit. Now, these people are in fear. They fear what we do. That is why they proactively contact us personally. Like, we want to be involved with you. We don't. Yeah? What time is irrelevant. The fact that you've taken it upon yourself to contact another man who actually despises you is sad. It's telling. It's pathetic. That's what we have to deal with. Why? Well, because of this on screen, this elevation angle measurement, this sun angle measurement from a flat plane is the reason that people like Phil Bell feel that they've got to contact other men who don't like them, who don't want to talk to them, certainly don't want to call at whatever time in the bloody morning. None of these people seem to understand that this isn't our bag. I didn't create this diagram. That's just how the sun's measured for the time that you're arguing about, Phil. You realise that the time you're arguing about is a derivation of a flat Earth also. You wouldn't be able to describe this concept we've derived from the angle measurements of the sun like this diagram shows. But here we are arguing about the flat Earth utilisation of time by way of angle acquisition to the sun to describe its movements and average them and give us clocks. A man-made convention that we're now arguing about with men that we hate. What a disgrace of a human being Phil Bell is.
Well, Nathan, here's the deal. He says, I guess you must be wondering why a physicist like me in his 70s would be interested in chatting with a bunch of people who think the Earth is flat, knowing the very idea is absurd. It's not like I take any time to interact with people who actually think Bigfoot is real, and that is a great question. I can't speak for the people who do it just to mock other people. That's not me. I think I can help. I think I can't help being an educator. It's in my DNA. Sometimes it's entertaining, but deep down, it's about education. I guess an analogy is listening to someone singing who constantly messes up a note, which makes me flinch. I would get the urge to correct them. As a writer yourself, he's talking to one deck, you too would feel the urge to correct bad grammar or to make a verse in a poem more satisfying. So that's his reason, Nathan. He's here to help.
Did you ask him for his help?
Don't even know him.
Phil, nobody fucking asked you, you stupid old man. You think you're just going to take it upon yourself to start educating people? Is that what you think? No, my friend. You know, children get educated by education structures and their parents. If some random fucking old man comes in and starts educating kids, you get locked up. Now, you think because it's adults that you've decided to superimpose your education on their lives when they haven't fucking asked for it. You just need locking up, Phil. Nobody fucking wants your education, you stupid old twat. Hitting a bum note. What a wanker. You see, right below the surface, right, you've got this inference that we're hitting a bum note. Fuck you! You'd get a broken nose if you insinuated that I'm hitting a bum note when I describe the flat earth prerequisites that your fucking ball needs, Phil. You disgraceful human being. You scum. Nobody fucking asked you for your education. We're not hitting bum notes. The only bum note is you and the sound of your droning voice when it hasn't been asked for. If we want your fucking opinion, we'll beat it out of you, Phil.
So one deck asked him, so you are not sure who first measured Earth to be curved? Professor Phil said, exactly. I'm a physicist, not an ancient historian. I'm concerned with what's happening now and the way things work. Of course, I'm interested in how humans came across the evidence we rely on in physics and chemistry, but it doesn't matter to me who first measured the size of Earth. It matters that the Cartosat 3 satellite, among the other hundreds of mapping satellites, are doing it now. So he thinks the satellites are measuring Earth. Yeah, flat.
Now, we watched a Pathé film about this, right? We got our education because we went out and sought out people who made maps. The people who did the surveys, they've published videos about it. Phil thinks he put satellites into a sky vacuum. He's a fucking delusional old retard who contacts men in the middle of the night. Fuck off. Nobody asked you for your opinion on this. We know how maps got made. We looked it up. We watched them do it. Yeah, we watched them make massive flat plates and use a stereoscopic vision machine to create topology changes on these flat plates with respect to a planar surface at sea level. We saw how they did it. We didn't ask you, Phil, with your delusions that you put fucking satellites into a sky vacuum. You didn't. That's why you're here. You fear being wrong. It doesn't give you the fucking right to impose your so-called education on men who haven't fucking asked for it. We can go out and we can look how Ordnance Survey worked. We don't want your fucking opinion on it, you stupid old man. Hurry up and die.
Nathan,
Also,
he moved these satellites around with his computer. Sorry, one deck, go ahead.
No, just going, but like, one of the, like Nathan says, this has been done for years. These elevation angles, Nathan didn't invent it. We didn't. It's been going on. One of the earliest tools was the astrolabe. That was used in 2nd century BC. And it says, while primarily used in navigation and astronomy to measure the altitude of the stars, the astrolabe was one of the earliest tools to measure angles of elevation relative to the horizon. So they've been doing this since 2nd century BC.
Yeah, that's game over, buddy. What's wrong with you, Phil? You're not moving anything. He thinks he's moving satellites around because he's got a computer program that tells him he's doing it.
Well, he's talking about GPS, transmitters and receivers, which work the same way as celestial navigation. Yeah. They get three fixes of where the receiver is and use circles of equal elevation with fixed distances to pinpoint your position.
GPS
It's done on a 2D grid.
Sorry, you missed one part. It uses coordinates.
Yeah. So, you can say the word satellite, but, it's a transmitter and receiver, and that's how it works. It requires a flat Cartesian 2D grid to work, which is the surface of Earth. So there you go.
Yeah, the positional information's coordinate based. That's flat Earth angle measurement based. Why are we having this conversation? Oh, because a stupid old man decided to insert himself into one of the panel's lives personally. Why? Oh, because he feels like he's hitting a bum note and needs to educate him. That's what you get, Phil. You get a slap around the face, you cheeky old twat. That's what you'd get. Yeah? If you decided that suddenly that I'm hitting a bum fucking note when I describe coordinates. No, we're talking about elevation angles. Just not with you, you stupid old twat. Nobody fucking asked you for your opinion. Nobody wants your opinion. You're just some delusional prick scared of being fucking wrong. That's it. Fuck off and be scared of being wrong away from us. We don't want your company. We don't seek your education. We don't need your affirmation. Yeah? We can find out how fucking maps were made without Phil Bell contacting us personally. We don't need you anymore, you stupid old twat. Yeah, you'd be better off dying of cancer or something, Phil. So hurry the fuck up and die.
Well, that's a false analogy too, because what he's doing is, it's like correcting Barbra Streisand on a note that he thinks is not right. When she's the singer and she knows the note she's hitting, we're hitting all the right notes. Earth is measured flat. There's no need to correct there.
Yeah, as always, it's right below the surface. A seeming polite, I'm just here to educate. Oh, I can't help it. It's in my veins. When I hear a singer singing out of fucking tune. Oh, really? You're implying that I'm out of tune? I'm going to break your fucking nose, Phil. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to smash it on your face. You stupid old cunt. How fucking dare you? No, Phil. When I describe the latitude system, I can go and get diagrammatical examples like this one that use a Cartesian system inside a ball. A flat, plane system for the angles to emanate from the ball. Why am I going through this with some old cunt? Oh, because he's decided to insert himself into our lives when he hasn't been asked for his opinion in any fucking way, shape or form. Wasn't asked for. Not only has he decided he's going to insert his opinion where it fucking weren't asked for, he's going to insult us while he does so. Hitting a bum fucking note. You let a fucking bum broken nose, Phil. In person. But you're doing it via the internet, you pitiful old twat. Yeah? Via instant messaging. Yeah? No, Phil. In reality, you would get your fucking nose broken, because under the surface, you're not polite. You're telling us we're hitting bum notes. Yeah? You think your subtlety is lost on me? No, you just want to insult us. Well, I just want to break your teeth. That's what I'd want to do for your oh-so-subtle hitting the wrong note insult. Fuck you. Nobody asked you for your opinion. We know how fucking maps are made. We know what the coordinates are. Those little numbers with circles after? It's called a degree. It's an angle, you old fuckwit. You think your satellites on your computer are giving you anything other than coordinates derived from flat earth fucking angles? No, you stupid old fuckwit. You're just a delusional old crackhead. That's all you are. So fuck off and live in fear about how pathetic and useless your entire existence was when you're using coordinates to what, believe that you're flying around a fucking ball? No, the orbital motions derive from flat earth elevation angles also. The entire system is reliant on a flat earth. But this old cunt fears that. So he thinks he's got the right to educate the singers out of tune. Fuck off and die, Phil, you old cunt.
Well, what you just did there, Nathan, was you hit the high C, and some non-musician is going to correct you.
He also was saying, I mean, I don't understand what all this means, but he sort of drops himself in a bit when he's mentioning altitude, because that's the, vertical height above sea level. So he says to me, What's the matter with you? Elevation angle is the angle between a horizontal attitude and the celestial target. This has nothing to do with the ground. You can stand on a hill or the side of a hill and obtain an angle of elevation. The horizontal attitude is always local. It does not mean the ground is flat all the way from your position to the GP. That's the ground position of the star. I'm afraid if you believe that, then you have been tricked. Now, he's used altitude, he's got horizontal, he's got the ground position. I mean, what is the guy talking about?
Saying locally flat.
That's wrong. On screen now. For it to function with a ball, if you describe the world as locally flat, you end up with this, what we described with Aitken earlier, a tangential plane. Does that work from the surface of a ball, Phil? No, you have to transpose it inside to the equatorial plane, don't you lying old cunt? Yeah, the entire surface must be referenced to a single Cartesian grid for the coordinates. Inside the ball, this is the diagram of it. Just so we're absolutely fucking clear. This is not my diagram. I didn't fucking make it. It's how Phil the fuckwit cunt ball works. Not my fucking ball that needs a flat plane inside it to derive a locally flat plane measurement inside. That's Phil's fuckwit ball that he's now lying about. Doesn't mean it's the ground. Well, yeah, it is the ground. It's got ground positions on it, you stupid old cunt. You lying old fuckwit who's decided to sing out of tune around us and tell us that we're not doing it right. No, Phil, you're just wrong. You're just a liar. We're acquiring ground positions for coordinates on the ground when we navigate the ground. So when his satellite description's being described, obviously it's about the ground and how curved it is from his computer. But when we acquire the coordinates in the first place, oh, that's not the ground. Yeah, it is. It's how the ball was fucking made. But I'm having to explain this to some cunt who's inserted himself into this discussion like we fucking want to talk to him. No, we see you as a stupid old cunt and would rather break your fucking teeth than have this conversation with you. We're having it because you've decided to insert yourself into our group like we fucking asked you to be here. No, we fucking hate you. Yeah? I'd rather watch you die than have a conversation with you, you stupid old man. Yeah? Is that not fucking plain enough for you? You don't understand that we're not seeking your education, you insignificant old cunt. Nobody fucking wants you to tell them anything. But because they're not asking, you're going to tell them anyway and then insult them. Yeah. In reality, you are the kind of person that has your fucking nose broken. In reality. Not online where you use excuses about the time derivation of flat earth prerequisite elevation angles to the sun to come up with a concept for you to argue about whether or not it's at that particular point or not. Nobody wants you talking to them, Phil. You stupid old idiot. Is that not clear? Nobody fucking likes you. I don't understand that. Why don't we like you? Because right on the surface, you're telling us that we're out of tune. Now, people might think, oh, subtle. No, it's an old cunt who wants to insult us through his own fear that he's wrong. And he is wrong when he lies about locally flat. What, the measurements of the fucking ground? Yeah, they're flat. But just locally, it's not the ground. Oh, really? Why are we doing this then? Are we doing this to believe in a ball or for navigation, you fucking old weirdo? That's why we hate you. Because while you tell us this shit that's incorrect, you infer that we're the ones out of tune. No, you'd be the one bleeding, you old cunt. Now fuck off.
They always they skip to the hill and the mountain. What's being pointed out, which I just pointed out before, and when 10th Man was going over it, is the Mariner's sextant has a horizon mirror. So the horizon's utilised when you carrying out celestial navigation at sea. Yeah, and for example, if you're going from 90 degrees to Polaris to 0 degrees, them 2 points, yeah, along the horizontal sea level, yeah, you'll have the GP of the star Polaris, and then as you back away, yeah. And you can no longer obtain an angle. Yeah, that's your GP. yeah, your eye level at sea level, that's a straight horizontal line, and it is the surface of Earth. And the distance between them two the distance between that horizontal length, with that example, will be 5,400 nautical miles of flat, straight, level horizontalness, by the way.
What's this on screen? Is this a guy measuring an angle with the word horizon at his extremities on a giant flat plane? Maybe when this description with north, south, east and west, that's directionality that we use for finding our way around the ground, is depicted in this way. Old wankers who would sooner piss on than talk to come along and say, oh, that doesn't mean it's the ground. Really, so when we've got words like north, south, east and west applied to it, we're not talking about navigating the fucking ground. You're an old cunt, Phil. Yeah? Hurry the fuck up and die. Yeah? So you don't impose yourself on our lives unnecessarily when you haven't been asked to be here. Yeah? That's why I'm suggesting that you should fuck off and die. Because I don't want you imposing yourself on us. That's why. Yeah? We fucking hate you, you lying old shitbag.
Well, it's not just Phil. It's Anthony Riley says the same thing, Nathan. It's not the ground. So what are we going to do with this situation here?
What's this then? What's this on screen? Not the ground? It's marked horizon. It's a flat plane. It's got north, south, east and west on it and a little fucking man. But this has got nothing to do with the ground. If you're a fat old wanker or an old cunt. No. Your fat brain and your oldness don't affect this diagram that I did not create. It's describing the ground, you bunch of fucking retards.
This is where you end up. You see, you and we're not doing it anymore. We're not keep repeating ourselves to dummies who can't understand the examples that we're just talking about with ease. About sea level, the 2 GPs across a horizontal distance. That's what's happening when these navigators are trying to pinpoint the position on the ocean. Yeah, they're obtaining elevation angles from surface level, sea level. Sorry, I mean mean sea level. That's what they're doing.
It's not the ground. It's in the air. It's in space somewhere. Never the ground.
So why are we doing it again? So we're up a hill trying to navigate because old weirdos, when they're on a hill, get lost. You're on a hill. You're on land. It's been mapped. It's not like you're in the middle of the sea. But you need to take this absurd example up a hill. Really? So you're going to do your dip correction to the surface level up the hill. Maybe you'll get it from Google fucking Maps and look at your altitude on that to do the dip with a mariner sextant. No, you're just a wanker, taking it to the absurd position where when I'm up a hill on my boat, using my mariner sextant, where'd you get the altitude from surface level or sea level to do the corrections down to the surface level for the trig for the GP? That's ground position. That's not the ground! You stupid old wanker. Hurry up and die.
If he's on the side of the hill, he's probably using a bubble sextant, which requires horizontal. In all aspects of this conversation and this topic, you will require a horizontal. You'll be either using the surface of sea level, or you'll be using a bubble sextant. Yeah? A bubble level in the sextant. Both ways uses horizontal. It requires horizontal. Doesn't utilize curvature. Ever. End of statement.
Yeah. Perpendicularity and parallel surface level to eye level. That's what you use. And if you're not on the surface level, you need to correct to the surface level. Parallel with the eye level. And you need to acquire an elevation measurement in order to do so. Like I say, if you're up the hill, where are you going to get it from? Oh, from the Google Maps. Well, then you don't need to find your fucking position with a sextant, do you?
No, because you know where you are.
Yeah, what, when you gather the altitude from Google Maps? The altitude being from sea level? Yeah, if you're doing that, you don't need to Mariner sextant your way out of trouble, do you? But in this hypothetical example, I can go up a hill. Really? What, to navigate, you stupid old fuckwit? Why would you do that? Oh, because you're a retard that's inserted yourself into a community that fucking hates you and started telling them they're out of tune.
Plus, the hill will have a height, in reference to sea level for that map.
That's my point.
Yeah. Can't get away from it, can you, really? I mean, you just can't get away from this fact. Spitting facts about this.
The walls are closing in on them now. They feel it. And like Nathan says, they're afraid.
Yeah. Phil Bell is an insignificant twat who has wasted his time here. Now, he's not going to be here that much longer. He's old. He'll die eventually. But while he's in his twilight years, he's concerned that his stupid, nonsensical shit in a sky vacuum using coordinates and Cartesian grids might not be on a fucking ball. So he's got to come and tell others that he's the educator. Actually, I'm the superior one. And my belief, based on flat earth prerequisites like coordinates, is actually ball-shaped. And when we describe a flat plane for measurements for GP, that's not the ground. Fuck off! Who the fuck asked you, you stupid old man? Nobody, that's who. Rhetorical though it was.
Nathan, he's just trying to help. It's like a conductor when he hears an instrument out of tune, but sometimes the conductors, they could be getting old and losing their hearing. And they're correcting something that needs not be corrected. Like flat earth, measured flat, that needs no correction.
Yeah, and like a tired old dog, sometimes you just got to take it out to the back of the barn and shoot in the fucking head.
You got to put it down.
You just got to put them down, that's right. These stupid, deranged idiots. Metaphorically, like old dogs. Sometimes the old dog just can't hear you whistle anymore.
Yeah, but bullets are expensive, and I don't think he's worth a bullet. Maybe a spade for the neck.
You
Yeah,
guys are
metaphorically
getting too
speaking.
violent.
Metaphorically speaking, like an old dog that just needs to be put out of commission in the kindest possible way, right? Sometimes you're just so fucking old and stupid that nobody wants your opinion anymore. Now, you might still think you're that spring chicken teacher that people value the opinion of. You're not. Nobody fucking asked you. You're not in a classroom. You're contacting men on messenger services. This isn't your school, you stupid old deranged weirdo. Yeah? That's not a classroom, you fucking retard. That's another man who hates you that you've decided to tell is out of tune. Just broken nose. That's what you'd get in reality. But here on the internet, you can express your fear to somebody who hasn't asked you for your opinion, can't you, Phil? Yeah. Even though you're old, you still know the benefits of using online resources to stem your own fear. Yeah, you know how to do that. Yeah, you're not that old a dog to not learn how you can quell your own fear about how stupid and insignificant your claimed profession over the last 10 or 20 years has actually been. Satellites? What, using coordinates? Those are flat earth measurements. It's not the ground! Oh, fuck off, you old twat. Nobody fucking asked you.
Okay, I don't know if this is in. Let me read this here. This is in chat. It's from at USS Oakley. Next episode of the adventures of the USS Oakley on the measured flat. We will see if they can survive the South Celestial Pole. Stay tuned. Now that's a derogatory statement.
Sorry. It's on screen. Let's just cover that so quickly. I happen to have paused this particular slide. And what do you know? Somebody's describing whether or not a South Celestial Pole. What, like this one? South Celestial Pole, described with a dude stood on a flat plane with north, south, east and west on it. Sorry, what is it that I didn't make clear when I said that this is not my diagram. It's just describing directionality with respect to a plane of reference with a man standing on the surface that is ipso facto flat. Otherwise, north, south, east and west wouldn't work on it. What's that? What about the south celestial pole? Sorry, does this have any bearing on this? Is that the ground? No. The pole is a derivation through a sphere that's presupposed when creating it with flat Earth elevation angle measurements to Polaris, or dip angle measurements as per Al-Biruni's derivation of claimed R values, ultimately all using flat Earth measurements and elevation angles to create a ball, in this instance to put us inside. Inside when we measure the surface for directions that are flat. So you think that your south celestial pole is something to do with me on the SS Nathan Oakley? No, I'm not on a boat. I don't need to be. I'm not making these measurements. I'm not a delusional 70-year-old fucktard who thinks he needs to educate people who haven't asked for their fucking opinion. No, that's not me. You're confusing me with Phil Bell. No, this is not of any concern to me. I'm not a mariner. I'm a YouTuber. I just happen to know how Earth gets measured to create balls with that flat prerequisite surface level elevation angle of Polaris measurement. That's how your ball gets made. Now, does that mean that I want contacting via messaging services from old delusional fucktards? No, definitely not. Now, if I want to find out how a map works, I can find that information out for myself. I'm good, thanks. What's that? You feel you need to... Nobody fucking asked you, though, did they? What's that? About the SS Nathan Oakley on the South Celestial Pole? Well, we'll need a flat plane for that, won't we? As diagrammatically exampled here. It's just not mine. Maybe you could get in touch with them, find out who provided this diagram and start telling them that they need to change their ways, quick sharp. I mean, it's not that it's anything to do with your fear of how wrong you might be when you say it's not the ground, because you're delusional, fat or old. It is, though. It's the surface level with north, south, east and west specifically detailed on it. Those are directions with respect to the ground. Like I say, it's not mine. You don't have to fucking like it. You definitely don't need to be contacting anybody from this group personally to express your fear and concerns about it. It just is flat, though. Whether or not you say you're the authority because you are, wanting to put yourself back into that education scenario where the people around you are expecting you to teach them. This is not that scenario, delusional fucking tosser. Nobody's asking for your education. Nobody wants you around them here. Go and talk to other delusional fucking retards who use flat Earth prerequisite elevation angles to create a ball for you to think that you're putting motions derived from the elevation angles, that's orbital motion, flat plane prerequisites, in a sky vacuum for the coordinates that are flat on the Cartesian grids that you use. Oh, that's just not the ground, it's just local planes. Nobody fucking asked you, did they?
Oh, Nathan, it seems like this guy, this is his channel, and according to Divergent Droid, he's made this channel just to troll you.
Of course. Why would it be any other way other than me, somebody who isn't responsible for this diagram, specifically with South Celestial Pole being mentioned on it? But I'm getting trolled. Sorry, did I create this? Another delusional retard who's under the misapprehension that trolling me will influence this. Hello? Are you delusional? You think the way to get the world to change how flat North is to contact a YouTuber, troll a YouTuber? Are you delusional? Yes, you all are. That's why we hate you. You're under the misapprehension that a YouTuber is the arbiter of the South Celestial Pole. And when it's not the case, you'll invent a scenario where he's on the SS Oakley. Yet you people are fantasists. Yeah? You've suddenly elevated me onto a pedestal of ship's captain. Why? Because you're delusional fucking retards. That's why. Yeah, you don't need to be contacting YouTubers about how directionality is flat. It's on screen. I just didn't create this. Me talking about it doesn't mean that I've got influence over it. Being an influencer in a social setting is what I do. I'm a YouTuber, not a cartographer, not a ship's captain, and inventing scenarios where I am influenced by the circumnavigation that you're going to, pin on me also when it's derived from flat Earth measurements? About the positional information you find with your fix and your line of position when measuring Earth flat with angles? You're going to impose that on me? I don't do any of those things, you delusional bunch of fucking idiots. But in your mind, a YouTuber, yeah, that's the right route to get the world changed. Troll a YouTuber. Bunch of idiots.
Yeah, he's going to go over how the South Celestial Pole brings an end to flat Earth.
Sorry, it's on screen now. Did I make myself clear the first time? Sorry, this derivation from within a ball that was created with flat Earth measurements of elevation angles from surface level destroys the flat Earth. Maybe it's not been long enough ago that we reiterated the rock and the hard place. Either you delusional fucking retards out there that think you're on a ball, sink to your knees and acknowledge the flat plane of reference that you require to believe you're on a ball, in which case we measure Earth flat to create your ball. We do. You require Earth to be flat to create your ball, to use coordinates, to measure elevation angles, to derive an R value. If you deny it, you haven't got a ball anymore. That's called the hard place. Oh, you don't like the flat Earth prerequisites? Don't use them then. It just means you haven't got any measurements. They're all flat. For a ball that you believe in. So I don't give a shit if you say, oh, we've destroyed the measurements of a flat plane. Really, what are you going to base your ball on then? Oh, you haven't thought that through when you were hacking through the boat's floor? Oh, yeah, I don't like the flat Earth. I'm going to mash this hole into this boat's floor. Yeah, then your boat sinks, doesn't it? Oh, you need the beams that are based on flat Earth measurements, hypothetically speaking. Yeah, you do. They're fundamental tools. They are the foundations of your ball faith. The flat Earth measurements, that is. So you relinquish them at your own peril. And if you do relinquish them, then you haven't got a ball to believe in. If you use them, then you've measured Earth flat to create your ball. So Earth's measured flat. It's only local and it's not the ground. Well, it's the surface that we measured to create the ball with. That's flat. The ball afterwards is the ground. No. That violates the base principle measurements. Idiots. Well, looks like we've had our fun for the day. An hour has come and gone. On chapter 9 of the book, I want to carry on doing a bit more, so depending on if I get my wife's attention, we might start straight away, we might not. We'll see how we go. We'll maybe have a pre-show. Anything anybody wants to add before we toddle along? And
Pre-show? We had a pre-show. You mean an
after
after-show? Time sure flies when we're having fun.
any other comments? Quite a few people in the Discord server now. Feel free. No. With that, I'll say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, I can't find a picture of Phil Bell from an image search. There's too many of the more important Phil Bells out there.
Didn't he make the video saying at best they've debunked the radius?
That was Mr. Sensible.
Yeah, I know it was him, but he also, Phil Bell, I thought Phil Bell also got caught up in that.
Oh, was that not Blue Marble Science?
Could have been Rumpus.
Maybe. I don't care. I mean, my sentiment, although over the top in the live show, is sincere. You know, these people have been in a position in their life where they were respected as educators. And then they come across other people in society that literally couldn't give two fucks about them. But suddenly they think that we deserve educating by them. Like, what the fuck are you on? Who asked you? Nobody wanted your education. Nobody sought out your counsel. Piss off. Who the fuck do you think you are?
Nathan, he's a 70-year-old educator, and it's in his blood. And when he hears people going out of tune, he's got to be the tuner. He's got to tune us up. Doesn't realize that he lost his ability to hear that we are in tune.
Yeah, you're tone deaf, you stupid old twat.
It's a strange situation because he works for the government if he's a teacher, I'm guessing. So he does have the mentality of a government official because we've all paid our taxes, so therefore he's entitled to provide us a service even if we don't want it. But the fact he's on the other side of the world, I'm guessing he's Australian or South African. I always get them two accents mixed up. I can't quite tell the difference between them.
They all sound English to me. Liam, were you in here earlier when I told you what happened at 24/7 when I went in there yesterday?
No, I was at work.
Okay, so Jin was in there, so that's why I went in there to see what they were talking about. Anyway, this guy comes in and he starts saying that the Earth is concave. So Jin, much respect, immediately asked him for the measurements. But then he said, well, send me your information about this concave Earth. And the guy told him, oh, you got to do your own research. Oh, shoot. My phone just fell. Sound familiar, Jin? So I said, Jin, he pulled the gin on you. You got to do your own research.
Have you seen Jin since? Or is he still vacating here?
No, he hasn't been in here, but he laughed when I said that, so he might be loosening up. But I felt like saying, because then they got into, proving things, and I said, well, I felt like saying, well, technically, Jin and Baller could come in here and he could say, prove the globe scientifically, and you won't be able to refute him because you don't know what science is. But I didn't want to, poke him,
Yeah, you'll be there all night. So what state are you living in at the moment, Neil?
Alabama.
Oh, I bet it's good there.
Yeah, we don't have to. Well, actually, they've been freaking certain parts. They've been having the freaking no kings marches. Like Trump's really a king, but these people are whacked out. It's not as many. And the reason why that is? This is what I also heard in 24/7. Guy came in, he says, I have a theory on that. See, up north in these states like New York and Chicago and Minnesota, they have fluoride in their water. And enough fluoride, if you give to a lion or a bear, you could pet their stomachs and they won't do anything. So they've been pumping us with fluoride to go along with whatever they do. But that's not happening in southern states where they drink water from a well. This is what you get.
Well, I'll be honest though, things like that I don't dismiss and I don't accept. I just hit it up as a possibility, and I'll kind of leave it there.
And that's not why they operate the way they do down south. This has been that way freaking since America started. Been a different way of thinking down here. It has nothing to do with the water. And I don't care how much fluoride you give a freaking bear. You're going to try to pet its stomach? They say things just to say things. Like, where'd you hear this? Where do you validate that?
Fluoride's not a fast-acting poison. It takes time.
All right, so give a bear freaking go get a grizzly bear, give him fluoride for 20 years, and then pet him on his belly. I want to see somebody do that.
They wouldn't do it. It'd be cruel to the bears. Cast this animal cruelty.
Yeah, I just hear that when you start talking about bears, I'm like, that sort of relates to that. Would you rather go out with a man or a bear? Meme that the women were going on about a couple of years ago. I just find it's all very strange.
And the deluded women chose the bear.
Yeah, it just seems to be a little link, a little hop, skip, and a jump.
Am I missing
Maybe that's
something?
why Edit Bear calls himself Edit Bear.
Is the dating scene that terrible that women would choose bears over men? Bears like to eat people, right?
Yeah, and that was the issue, Nathan, because some girls had said bear, the other girls joined the hive mind and didn't want to stand out or disagree, so a lot of them just went along with it.
Well, if bears eat people, maybe the men aren't eating enough women. Bears aren't. They go.
Oh dear.
What the hell are we talking
Oh
about?
dear.
Who said bears eat people?
I did.
Well, I was just following on from that. Anyway, what's the beast of old people?
Sorry.
Actually, I'm just looking on Tinder. Some of these bears have got pretty good profiles. They got it going on.
Well, the logic used was that women know what to expect from a bear. That's hostile from the start, whereas a man may pretend to be friendly and then turn on you when you least expect it. So they went for the bear because they know to run or hide or climb from the get-go.
You still have that racist problem because you get brown bears, black bears, and white bears, don't you?
Yeah, which colour bear is more likely to attack you?
Probably
I reckon it's the white
ones. The white ones are probably the most likely to attack you.
Is that so?
Yes.
And polar bears are pretty stupid, though.
On what basis?
Well, I'm looking at, like I say, a few of these Tinder profiles of these bears, and they've got full-time careers, they're out there fishing, they're catching salmon. They've got it together. Prospects.
I don't know, one day. The jungle's quite busy. It can be a bit hectic and a bit noisy. So if you're a bear and you can live with nobody else around, you've got food and peace of mind, maybe they're a bit smarter.
This one says he's smarter than the average bear. He's got honey. When it says, what do you bring to the table? It's got a big jar of honey.
I don't know, Yogi.
Got another one that says he's quite interested in trains. Paddington, he says his name is.
No, I meant polar bears were stupid because obviously it's relating to North and South Pole. Obviously. Them globe of polar bears.
Looking at this profile, this one's got a business redistributing picnic baskets. Fantastic. I can see how the women would choose these.
Let's get a mic check, please.
Hello.
Just about here.
I'm going to something wrong with my phone.
Do we have a tutorial there?
Reminds me of a joke, right? This panda bear goes to a prostitute, sleeps with the prostitute. Once all said and done, he gets up and starts to go to leave. And the prostitute says, whoa, 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 what are you doing? He says, I'm going, I'm off. He says, no. She chucks the dictionary at him. She goes, grab this dictionary and look up what it says under prostitute. So he looks up prostitute, woman who sleeps with bears for money. And he says, oh yeah. Chucks the book back at her and he says, look up panda bear. He looks at panda bear and it says, white and black bear eats, shoots and leaves.
What's the difference between a good joke and a bad joke? Timing.
Did we get onto what women want from men? How did we get onto bears? I don't really follow how we got onto this conversation. How did we get here? Nobody knows.
I didn't hear that. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm just trying to figure out how we went from talking about flat Earth to talking about women desiring bears over men. I don't really get how we got here.
That's Liam. Thank Liam for that.
No. I didn't bring it up. The gentleman Discord first raised it.
I don't know, but I can't bear to listen to anymore.
Any more what? Jokes about bears?
Yeah, I just can't bear it.
Timing. I get it.
Yeah, very good.
We can claw this back somehow.
Now, see, if 10th Man was here, boom, he would have responded with something immediately. You guys are just not honors.
Just a quick pause.
Boom, boom.
Good one.
Who was the bear fanatic who was eaten by a bear?
The Bear Grylls.
No, that's the hotel expert.
No, you're thinking of Steve Irwin, who was eaten by a croc.
It wasn't. It was stung by a stingray.
What the hell
Was
is
it a
crocs eat
stingray?
anything? I wear them
I
on my
thought he got
feet.
eaten by a croc.
No, it wasn't a croc. It was a stingray.
Roy Chubby Brown said, "You don't mess around with Captain Scarlet."
How does footwear kill somebody?
Yeah, Steve Irwin got stabbed through the heart of the stingray, didn't he?
Yeah. Tragic.
That's the guy that did the wildlife stuff, right?
Yeah.
And his son has carried on his legacy. He's going strong. He's on YouTube. Some really wholesome videos, just like his dad. It's quite great to see.
Wasn't there one that has a daughter as well? Another wildlife guy that got killed by wildlife. Now his daughter's running it. But seems like that happens all the time. The guy that writes a book about jogging, Jim Fix, how healthy you are, he dies of a heart attack in his 40s while jogging.
Whilst jogging.
I thought it was dehydration. Didn't he go jogging in like Spain or something and end up going too far and then lapsing through dehydration?
Dude, he wrote a book about jogging. He's supposed to know what he's supposed to do. That's the irony of it. Listen, the what do you call it's coming out soon? You know that, right? They're just waiting for a little more funding. Then the documentaries are coming out, and then the TFE will finally put an end to flat Earth for good.
Will it be on Netflix?
Don't know, but they're going to start off with April 1st. They're doing the Artemis thing. Now, what are you flat earthers going to say? They're planning big things. And then they're going to come out with the TFE right around that time. And then flat earthers will have no channel.
I just saw a
So it's
post.
a race, Nathan. It's your book or their documentary.
I just saw a post this morning that said that they were going to live stream the whole launch and the whole mission.
Well, that's what I think. I think they're waiting for Nathan to release that book, and then they're going to come out with the TFE documentaries. Don't sleep on these people.
Yeah, they're well-traveled men.
Almost every post I see on Facebook with Artemis, literally, there's a movie poster with a countdown every day for the past week of we're launching April 1st, we're launching April 1st. The majority of the comments, thousands of them, are not
Mocking
flat
it.
Earth. Yeah, they're all mocking. I won't say they're all flat Earth people, but it's all absolutely mocking the whole launch. So
Yeah, I noticed that a few years back that on these freaking NASA channels when they had, and I don't know if they still do, mostly people would be mocking you.
Maybe because it's old news for you guys, that does come as a surprise to me. I just think Boris Johnson wanted a quote-unquote space force or a space station built. He wanted something to do with the sky vacuum. And, he went up in the polls after saying that. And I remember talk about he was the only one proposing it. He recognised as the final frontier. So I think there's a lot of hunger for that. I'm surprised people have so much disdain and are open with it. But I guess the people who like it don't bother leave comments. They just watch it after the fact, or they don't even bother watching it. I don't know.
Did anyone hear about the spaceport that was apparently built up in Shetland in the UK?
No.
Apparently it's been open a while, but I've got a bunch of friends that still live up there. I need to get the scoop off them, but
Spaceport?
yes, spaceport, they're meant to be sending rockets from there.
How high do they go?
Who, the staff believe in it? The name doesn't make sense either, because space is length, width, and height, and port is somewhere where ships can enter. But a port is specific to water, so
Anybody keeping tabs on what's going on down the road on our old stomping grounds? It's been very quiet over there, no?
I don't know what our old stomping grounds are.
The last server that hosted you for all those years.
well, I haven't been listening, but I haven't received any new notifications of live shows or streams, so I guess that
That's
could
what I'm
be it.
saying. There hasn't been any. It's been very quiet over there.
Occasionally see Righteous Force broadcasting.
Well, if you look at the numbers and you're in it for the numbers, there's not a lot of motivation for you, is there, to carry on?
What numbers would they be? What do you mean?
I'd say there's a significant view count drop since the fiasco was cleared and separate ways were walked.
Since the betrayal, say it right.
Yeah, but since it's died down, Neil, people kept listening, to see and where it died down. And then once it had, then the show numbers decrease as it goes on. I said, if you're in it for those numbers and the money generated, then what motivation do you have?
What you're saying is initially people were more interested because of the drama. Once the drama subsides, people completely lose interest. Yeah, shocking.
I'm thinking a little more conspiratorial. And suspiciously quiet.
It's one less headache.
One important lesson I learned from The Godfather, Part 2. Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
Yeah, that's how you end up getting contacted at 4 a.m, though, isn't it?
I was just thinking how to link this to Professor Phil Bell.
Yeah, that was weird because I never heard from the guy. I used to be in a chat years ago when you were running your show, before I even became a panel member. Maybe you go back and forth a little bit, but that's it. Then to get a freaking message the next day, I look, it's like, this guy tried to contact me at 4:30 in the morning or whatever it was. And then a minute before midnight. And then he has the audacity to send freaking one deck contrary, saying that he contacted me at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
My bad.
What's
I
in
didn't
the show?
realise. I should take maybe a few of my words back. I didn't realise Phil was one of your mates, one deck.
Professor Phil, 5/3/2026, 16:59, and then 21:03 at 5/3/26. That's the date. All right. So this idiot thinks that when he types it, that he can send it whenever, and it'll still be that time. Freaking moron typed it up and sent it at the times I gave, which were correct. Unless something goes, how does that work? I mean, when you get a message, that's the time you get it, correct?
Yeah.
Mine says that this was sent to me at 11:59 p.m. And this was sent to me on March 5th at 4:03 a.m.
People clutching for relevance. Like I said on the live show, these people were formerly in a position where people cared what they had to say. And when there's people who are contradicting their entire life's work, they suddenly think that we should give a flying fuck what they've got to say about it. No, just because what we do fundamentally undermines everything that you stand for, doesn't mean that we give a fuck about your opinion on the matter. Tough luck.
Yeah, and it's weird because gravity and none of the other topics generated this much disdain. But once we started talking about measurements and saying, that's it, it's over, it's no big deal anymore, now they're really vexed. Now they
Can I say,
contact
mate,
in the morning.
Phil Bell has been chat skanking Nathan's live show and on his videos after the fact for years. So he's just desperate for attention, and you'll give it to.
No.
Yeah.
He hasn't been. He hasn't been hit. I moderate the chats. There was a time when he did. But now that we're coming out with this nonchalant way to approach it, seems that they got their panties in a knot. Now they got to send messages. Right? But one deck sent me a message where it said he sent them at a decent time. So I want to know, is it my time or his time?
Okay, well, if you feel that Phil Bell's opinion on a non-subjective matter needs to be heard, then
Well,
okay.
hold on. Let's get one thing straight. There's a few people I ain't giving no attention to. That's going to be constant. Never again, ever. But there's still going to be people I see if I see something in chat like I read out today, or something like Phil Bell. Because what can you say? I'm sentimental, and he's an old man, and he lost everything. He has no more. He used to be a somebody. He was directing these satellites to give you great reception. And now he's a nobody. So, you got to give him a little bit, Liam. Can't be so cold.
Well, years of chat skanking and trying to undermine what's put on the show, and years later he's still at it, Neil.
Yeah. And then see what Nathan said today, right? Now he gets the tongue lashing.
How's the book going? Neil?
He said he's up to chapter 9. They're, arranging the chapters.
The last one I was on was the Coriolis, I think. Oh, was it Coriolis? Yeah.
Just 48 chapters left.
Yeah, they finished that out, the editing. Now they're rearranging the chapters, according to what Nathan said before, and doing some minor editing. So I'm thinking by this Friday, you should have it all wrapped up. And Good Friday.
Nice.
Yes.
And it wasn't me, Liam. It was One Deck that started this, sending me messages from Phil Bell.
You're just as bad.
Until now, there's been a certain symbiosis between us and them. And I'm taking that away currently. We don't care what you think. You were relevant to the discussion when there was a discussion taking place. Now the facts in the matter speak for themselves. There's no longer need to discuss it. So the more that they're hearing this, the more they want to forcefully insert themselves into a discussion that no longer exists. It's like there's no longer a need for you to be here talking to us. We haven't invited you, so now we can just tell you to get lost. Nobody's invited your opinion. Nobody wants it. It's inconsequential to how the flat earth measurements are for all that use them. So that's it. It's the end of the discussion. You're no longer needed. I used to teach. People respected me. I need to teach you. Fuck off. Get lost.
Well, tell him to F off was all, nice of you, Nathan, but tell him to F off and die was a little bit too far.
I've been told for 12 years that I need to jump off buildings and prove gravity. I've been told for 12 years that my kids need to be taken away from me. I need to be castrated and removed from my ability to reproduce in the gene pool. That is what I have been told for 12 years. This man, who nobody has asked for an opinion from, has decided to contact Neil off his own volition. He can be told to go fucking die of cancer. Do not contact us. You are not fucking welcome. And when you do, don't be surprised if we tell you we'd rather see you dead. Piss off. Nobody fucking asked for your opinion. If you don't want to hear that, that's we'd rather see you dead than talk to you, don't come and talk to us. You don't like that attitude, then don't fucking come over here. It is that simple. Now, if you come over and you seem polite, pleasant, like the kind of person that you'd hang around with, generally speaking, then no worries, everybody's happy. But that isn't these people, is it? It's right below the surface. Even when they're feigning being polite, they're telling you that they're out. The out of tune comment was where I absolutely lost my shit. Because it's just like that guy in the Discord server that Neil was talking about in the pre-show. Right, right under the surface, he wants to call me and Neil homos. Right there, under the surface. I'm just here being polite. I'm here to educate you. Really? Did you insult the people in your classroom? Did you tell them that they were potentially homos? No, you didn't, because you didn't fear them. They respected you and everything was cushy. Now we don't respect you. We're not asking for your opinion. We couldn't give a fuck what you've got to say, but you're telling us anyway. Now, I just see that type of person as the kind of person I don't want in my life. Now, if you're very old, there's a good chance Phil will die soon. That's just a fact. Now, when people go, why are you telling him that he needs to die? No, I'm saying he's old. He will die very soon. That's just a fact. Now, I'd rather it was sooner rather than later because he's decided to impose himself upon us. So therefore, I will express that opinion about an old man and when he's going to die. Now, if people don't like me talking about the facts of reality, people die when they get old, then don't be around me either. I'm not going to temper what I talk about because people find it offensive that you get old and die. You do. People get old and die. Now, like I say, for Phil, I'd rather that was sooner rather than later. Why? Because he's here, irritating everybody, telling us that we're out of tune, telling us that he needs to be the one educated. We wouldn't want to talk to you, grisly old Yorkshire pudding face. Why the fuck do you think you need to come and demand that we have your attention? How dare you? That's my attitude. So yeah, I will tend to hurry the hell up and die.
Yorkshire pudding face. Anyway, to get to what Nathan's saying is there was a guy in the chat who came in very respectfully. I wanted to read it out, but I didn't get a chance to. And he was like, listen, I've been a flat earther for 10 years. And can you tell me anything about satellites? I just would like to know. Like, I guess he's trying to find out, well, what our opinion is on them. But I mean, he wasn't asking in a derogatory type of way.
I see. So when you need your washing machine repaired, do you go and talk to a social media influencer, Neil?
He wants your opinion as a flat earther that's been in this 10 years plus. So he's just a guy, I forgot what his name was, but a flat earther guy. It's the only thing he asks, nothing else. Didn't get around to it. But he's just curious about these satellites that he keeps hearing about.
It's had 10 years to ponder over this.
Hearing about them. Can somebody tell me about these unicorns I keep hearing about? What satellites? Show me one.
So you're saying that satellites don't exist. Okay.
No, I'm saying, what is it that we're talking about? We're talking about things that are mathematically in an orbital motion. Okay. So when we get down to what an orbit is, it's a derivation of a flat Earth prerequisite. Where are they claimed to be? In a sky vacuum. So we've got something that's described to move mathematically in a system derived from flat Earth measurements in an area of volume that violates the second law of thermodynamics. So you want my opinion on this batshit insane fantasy that isn't mine? Because you've heard a lot about them. Heard? Yeah, you've heard about satellites, have you? Did you go to the sky vacuum to see? Oh, you can't. So it's just about what you heard. Yeah?
He's got Starlink.
Richard D. Hall used to say, don't believe anything that you hear and disbelieve half of what you see.
He has Starlink. You can't deny Starlink, Nathan.
What's Starlink? That's an internet connection. That's like me saying, well, flat Earth's proven, I've got cable. What do you mean? Well, I've got cable.
Yeah, but listen to it. Starlink. That means it's a satellite that they're using that takes its position in the stars and links you.
Like coordinates. I've already covered this. Yeah, so we're talking about it being in an orbital motion. So it's a derivation of a flat Earth prerequisite that comes up with that system. And then if you're going to use data for position, it will be coordinates. So flat Earth measurements then. But why am I being asked this? Because there's a place that doesn't exist that's supposed to have unicorns in it, and I'm supposed to have an opinion on the freaking unicorns. No. You say the Starlink. Where? In a sky vacuum. How high? Flat Earth measurement much? What coordinates is it flying over? Flat Earth measurement much? Is it flying in an orbital motion? Flat Earth much? That's it. Why am I being asked my opinion on it? I have no responsibility for any of this shit. Knowing that Earth's measured flat for them now means I can disregard all of it. Like, give me 3 examples of anything that's measured to do with the ground. Anything. Doesn't matter if it's satellites or navigating or mapping, charting, building. Anything that's got an Earth measurement in it. Okay, Starlink. Does it need your positional information? Does it use coordinates? How high is it? Where's it located is done and dusted. We don't need to talk about the second law of thermodynamics violation sky vacuum anymore, do we? Now, if there's people who are like, I've been a flat earther for 10 years, well, then you know that the sky's not a vacuum, and that's where it's claimed to be, this Starlink, right? In the vacuum? So it's not then. Do you need anything else? Was there anything else? Well, I need your opinion on it. What? About what you've heard? Its location is? Its altitude that's measured from a flat plane. With its positional information taken from coordinate systems that are flat measurements. What more do I need to do? Why am I being asked my opinion on this shit?
Oh, got another message coming in. Forget about what I heard. I've seen the ISS over 20 times.
And? Is it in an orbital motion, derived from flat Earth measurements? What altitude is it at? Do we need to go through the same list again? Where is it over? Do we have the coordinates where you saw it from? Flat Earth, much. I mean, how much more stuff do people need? What are they saying it is? What have you heard about? Oh, you've heard they're floating around like Superman in a sky vacuum? No, they're not. Now, beyond that presupposition that I must whistle past in order to give an opinion on it, there's nothing more for me to do. Everything to do with practical reality. Not that the ISS is giving us any use, anything actual useful. No, it's there to affirm people's belief. Moreover, probably cover up what it is because they haven't got a clue. We've got a down on the ground, under the water in a tank version, and we've got a light that we see. Okay? The light's got a funny shape to it. Yeah, it has, yeah. The more we get detailed telescopes, the more detail we get from this funny shaped light. Okay? What about it? Well, it's claimed to be in orbit. Okay, well, we need a flat Earth to measure to get that. Every explanation that you ever offer for this light in the sky, regardless of whether or not you tie it to a stage show in a pool on the ground, none of it, when it's coming to the practical descriptions of its location, its altitude, that's elevation, all of these are flat Earth prerequisites. They're measurements that are needed to describe it in any semblance of having some physical reality to the ground. As soon as you do that, Earth's measured flat. What's that? What's my opinion? I couldn't give a shit. It's a light in the sky. Now, does it tie in with the orbital motion that you've got? No, they've given it a new one, haven't they? It's the ISS's orbit, yeah, around the sphere Earth. Those are flat Earth measurements that are giving you those derivations. That's how you and your Copernican system have put the sun at the centre for your orbital motion by deriving R values and measuring angles to the stars. Starlink, ISS, what, out in the sky vacuum amongst the stars that we've plotted our positions flat with, measured our altitudes to these so-called sky vacuums from flat planes. No, we haven't. They're not in sky vacuums. It's all bullshit. Sick of being asked for my opinion on a freaking light in the sky. Like, no, the fact that we've got pre-existing heliocentric motion that this has been incorporated to doesn't mean that I have any responsibility for it or even an opinion. I just know that the measurements that will be used to describe it will be and can only be flat. As soon as you give it a height. Does it have a height? Yes, it does. Earth's flat then. No. I want altitude from sea level that's not the ground. Because I'm 70. Therefore not the ground. What altitude, you fucking old retard? Why are you here talking to us again? Because it's not the fucking ground that we're measuring its height from. Yeah, we are. It's perpendicular to sea level. That's what altitude is. It's an upward orientation, a directionality, an axiomatic vertical, perpendicular to something you've measured it from. That's sea level. Is that it? Are we done here? Earth's measured flat for its height. No, I want to have a height in an orbital motion that we ignore the flat Earth measurements for, so I can ask you about what you think about the sky vacuum-based version. There isn't one. It's just stupid. Why am I even having this conversation? I don't fucking know what the lights in the sky are. Neither do you. The fact that you've already got a version of reality given to you in a heliocentric worldview that comes from flat Earth measurements should make you, not me, disregard it at this point. Not ask for my freaking opinion on it.
It's the same thing. Like, they're doing the same thing when they say south, right? Well, you're going to have to answer for south celestial pole.
South's flat.
You mean direction, right?
No, the
Every other
south
word that
celestial
comes out of the
pole
mouth has got
isn't
something
south.
to do with-
South is a direction. South celestial pole is a derivation of a system created with flat Earth measurements to be plotted through a ball as an axis of rotation that they give a word south ascribed to something else. No, you're talking about the mathematical polar axes of a ball Earth derived from flat Earth measurements. Suddenly south isn't south. It's like terrestrial refraction is not refraction. Just because it's got the word south in it doesn't mean it's got anything to do with the direction. South? Oh, well, that's flat. South celestial pole? Well, then we'd have to go into the orbital motions and the derivations of R values and sphericity and heliocentrism for you to put an axis so that you can square some circles in heliocentrism that don't work mathematically. But the entire system violates its base principle measurement of elevation angles off surface level. So who gives a toss about how we square the circle by putting Earth at a tilt with an axis when we put it in motion around the sun? We're not. We're not in a sky vacuum, and the system of orbital motions derived from a flat plane when you take angle measurements to the stars in the first instance. So nobody gives a crap about an axis that they've given the word south to make it seem like it has some semblance of meaning when it comes to a directionality. No, south through an axis of a compass, that's all we're talking about. A protractor around your position that you can rotate the polar axis through. Well, it's nothing more than a glorified measurement with respect to a Polaris-based system. What's the Polaris-based system? And that'd be latitude. So what are we talking about? Well, we're talking about being inside a ball that's a protractor, and we're changing our angle for the respect of the planar system that we orientate from within that ball about a polar axis that we're going to eventually draw a map on and call Earth. Yeah, okay, so can I boringly describe this tedious shit that I've spent 10 years learning so I can overcome this person that's asking us about what they think satellites are, what they think the ISS is, what space is, what orbital motion does. I'm sick of all of it. It's bloody boring, to say the least. Yeah, seriously, boring. Talking about the movements of lights and their derivations that come up with systems that give us calendars and time. That's all we're talking about. Man's desire to quantify and therefore in some way have a perception of controlling elements of the world that have been preordained by God, as far as I am concerned. Quantifying them in arbitrary systems and structures doesn't mean anything. Just our ability to sniff our own farts when we describe things, categorise things, and create conventions with things like flat Earth angles to the sun to give us time. Well, we want more. We need to know why the other stars move. Why? Well, that's men just sniffing their own farts for 500 years. That's all we're talking about. And then we get asked about our opinion of it. What, this convoluted gaggle screw of nonsense that was derived from flat plane measurements in the first place? My opinion on that shit? Well, yeah, in that system, the ISS is a flying tin can with people. I couldn't give a crap. It's nonsense. If you can't reconcile the fact that to come up with this nonsense, you first have to measure Earth flat, then you're forever trapped in a paradigm where you whistle past those facts to start asking questions about Narnia. That's all that's happening. Like, no, we don't have a wardrobe. Yeah, but what do you think about when we're in the... My God, I can't do this anymore. I can't keep walking through your wardrobe door. There isn't one. It's a story.
See, the problem is, Nathan, we bit on that so many times in the past, and now they can't handle us not biting on it no more, and just giving the answers the way we give them is not good enough. They want to know.
Yeah, I want to disregard this information. I want it out of my head, as opposed to the people who opposed us for the last 10 years that valued it. They'd learnt this fart-sniffing, boring shite and then felt that it was worthy of being able to lord it over next man in some hypothetical scenario where they're the king of the bar and everybody's on their every word waiting with anticipation for how heliocentric the world can be described by this genius. No, they're all 5'8" dweebs with skin that looks like shit. They're all the same. They're all versions of this Yorkshire pudding old cunt that's contacting you personally. They're all just different versions of the same man. Yeah? He's just an old version of the exact same boring twat. The problem is that Phil Bell typifies this type of person by his fear as he reaches his twilight years. Because when you look back on your life, is he looking back going, I don't regret a bit of it if I died tomorrow? But no, he's out on YouTube trying to correct a social influencer. And is he proud of his work? No, he's fearful that it was all for nothing. It was, Phil, if you're listening, you pathetic old twat. Your entire existence was for nothing. And as you reach your latter years, if you're listening to this, know that I'm laughing at you for it now. Not wanting to engage and respect you for being an educator, you fucking old twat. I'm laughing at you. You did waste your years on shit that was given to you by men who wanted to control you. And as you reach your twilight years, you'll think, was it a complete waste of time? No, I'll be able to defend it by contacting YouTube social influencers about it and telling them how important an educator you are. You sad old twat. Yeah, you did waste your life. Absolutely without question. That's what they fear. Yeah, that they invested heavily in the wrong product. And when they get to 70 years old, they'll look back and not go, I can't believe how proud I am with the satellites that I put into the sky. No, you want to convince social influencers that they're wrong about it. If he had any confidence in his facts that he says are correct, he would have absolutely no need to defend them. That's the overarching rhetoric that we're putting out as we transition into exactly that. I don't give a shit about explaining to you how flat it is moving forward. I care less as the days progress. My absolute disdain for scumbag cunts like this, Phil, who inhabit our time, robbing us of it. Because we've only got one thing. It's the most precious of all. It is how much time we've got here. It's finite. So when these thieving bastards like Phil, in his wasted twilight years, think that they can waste our time, uninvited, it's an outrage. No, how dare you? Now, I don't need to get into the wrangle-dangle to make you know how flat it is, because ultimately that would be done out of my fear that I was wrong. I don't have any of that anymore. That fear's gone. I know it's flat, and I couldn't give a fuck if anybody else knows it. Now, I know that that is getting me a lot of hate from my own side, because they all want to feel like they're super-duper special, like they're the most important special snowflakes. And it's like, no! The minute you actually realise that it is just unequivocally flat, measured that way, and therefore you balls to bones know it, you have no desire whatsoever to convert next man, because you can shrug your shoulders in indifference. Why? Well, because number one, I'm not measuring anything. There's no practical application to what I do. I'm not going to get to 70 and worry about how my practically applied flat earth measurements might be for nothing. I wasn't doing any. It's only the people on the contrasting side that have got a ball face directly tied to their complete waste of a life that they get worried about it, and their fear leads them to want to convert others and basically waste our time. I mean, I don't care if you know it's flat. It is. It's measured that way. It can't be any other way. So you don't need to defend this. There's no need for me to now feel like it's upon me as a responsibility to get in touch with Simon Dan and let him know how wrong he is. I couldn't give a shit. Be wrong. Good. It's not even good. I don't care. It's inconsequential. It's like the example he's using. Phil Bell saying he doesn't want to get in touch with the Bigfoot people. Yeah, because balls to bones he knows it's bollocks. So he doesn't give a shit. It's inconsequential to him. That is the apathy I'm feeling every day, more and more towards the subject of flat earth. I know it's flat. I don't need to have a row with you about it. What's that? You don't think it is? I couldn't give a shit. I don't care what you believe anymore. I know what I know, and it is a fact. There's nothing anybody's going to say that could possibly change it. It's not something up for debate anymore.
You know what Phil Bell would say? Waste of time? I don't think so, Nathan. I'm driving around in Mercedes. What are you driving around in?
Can't take it with you. Can't take the Merc with you. Yeah? What are you going to do with it? Bury it in your grave with you? Are you going to say, here lies Phil, he drove a Merc? I mean, Jesus wept. Seriously. If that's your standard. But it's not my standard. I am so uninfluenced by that mentality. I've had money, I've had posh cars. You get to a point where you go, what do I want out of life? At the moment, I want to be able to watch my kids grow. It's absolutely without question something that I can't get back once it's gone. I'm not going to look back at any point, or haven't, that's my general mentality, at any point in my life and go, if I got hit by a bus tomorrow, I wouldn't watch the bus coming towards me going, fucking hell, if only I'd have done this. Why did I waste my time doing that? I'd be like, life was good. Every day I look at my position in life I can moan about being poor, but ultimately I have no regrets. I can't look at a single moment over the last 10 years and go, oh man, was that worth doing? Not at all. That's a difficult way to live. Sometimes it'll cost you financially in order to be in that position. But I never want to be like Phil, where I'm second guessing my existence. That's what he's doing. You realise that, right? That's why he's here. He's not here because he needs to affirm it. If he knew it balls to bones, he'd just get on with his day, make a brew, and he wouldn't even be considering it. But that's the reality. He's got to this stage of his life, and he's second guessing whether he was wasteful with the limited time he's got. Yeah, that's my disdain towards Phil. Hurry up and die. Why? Because what are you going to do when you're dead? Here lies Phil, he had a Merc. Was that what it was all about? Was it all about getting a Merc? No, definitely not. Now, he knows it because he's old. But he wants to know that what he has done, he's already past tense, invested in it and done it. Was it a wise investment? It was a heliocentric investment. Everyone here knows how ludicrous it was to back that horse. Now, he, on his exit from this realm, will be going, no, I'm pretty sure I did invest wisely. Oh, yeah. Yeah, why would you be trying to convince anybody? If you just knew it, you'd be getting on with something else. You're not. That says it all. Am I going around telling people how it's worthy of my investment in the last 10 years? No, I'm trying to monetize it. I'm going to write a book about it. I'm not out trying to convince Phil that, oh, no, you need to understand me. I'm an educator. I used to be a salesman. I could get people to produce more money from buying the products that I'd learnt about. I'm an excellent educator. Why are you trying to justify your existence as a salesman by pretending that you're a teacher now, Nathan? Well, because in reality, it's my fear that I've wasted my life going out flogging crap. Like, no. I wanted to be able to look someone like Phil in the eye and go, oh, yeah, I owned a top-end Audi. I did 180 miles an hour in it. It was fucking awesome. Yeah, absolutely had loads of money. I've still got the Rolex. Can't afford to service it. But I had a time in my life when I was minted. Yeah, and that's when I went out, found a beautiful woman and bred with her. That's what I did. Peacocked. But at some point, I recognised it wasn't worth anything. It will all decay. It will all fail eventually, just like me. So it's not the purpose. Having an S5, who gives a flying fuck? Nobody gives a shit about your posh car. The neighbours don't care anymore because it's not parked on the driveway temporarily. And nobody's looking at my grave saying, here lies Nathan who drove an S5. Nobody gives a shit. That's why people are so self-absorbed, especially when they get to the latter stages of their life. Did I waste my time? That's all you had. So don't waste it. But that's why I'm getting so angry. All these people want to do is waste our time now. Like, well, if your nihilistic attitude, because you've been bred with heliocentrism, leads you to believe that it's all for nothing, well, then you have that experience and die. I won't care about you.
I see your point because he's not sure. He's in doubt. See, like you could say, I know for sure without a doubt Earth is flat, it's measured that way. So it really doesn't motivate you to tell next man because you know. See, he's second guessing. You're right. He's in doubt right now. Because if he knew Earth was a sphere, he wouldn't waste his time on the internet.
Yeah, we don't spend any time dealing with the ghost hunters, do we? You should roll your eyes. When it comes on the TV, you might actually engage in it just because it's entertaining. As a folly. Right, you get on with your day. You're not going to suddenly rebel against the ghost hunters. That's not what we get. We get a pronounced expression of people's fear. That's what we actually get.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. By him even contacting us, that's what he's doing. He's highlighting his fear.
Exactly. Very telling. The fact he's contacting you at all is very telling. looks like we're going to do a bit of book. How many minutes have we got? 2 hours and 25. Perfect. With that,
Go for it.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, go for it. You said you're going to do your book, right?
Yeah, I'm going to round out. With that, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
But when you measure it flat, it contradicts that. I'm spitting flat facts and that. And I know you don't like that. Google Maps is flat, it presents elevation profiles like that. I'm a spitting flat earth king. Sentence has a ring, doing my own thing. If earth was a big roast chicken, factually finger licking chicken. We just got the measurements missing. I'm spitting eggs and begs, begging the question lesson. I've said it before, time after time. I'm the spitting flat earth king of rhyme.